twice with the repeats.
And you want me to just play the repeats?
Which one? One, two. Top thing, not the crowd. Ready? Just one time,
Please be seated. Mr. President, seated before you are trustees, faculty, alumni, candidates for degrees, and honored guests of the university assembled for the annual commencement in Columbia's 248th academic year. With your permission, Mr. President, the exercises will now begin. Okay. Please stand for the national anthem. Please be seated. The opening words will now be pronounced by Jewelnel Davis, the university chaplain.
Congratulations, 2002 graduates. You will leave Columbia University today with both responsibility and privilege. Your Columbia degree will identify you around the globe among the best educated women and men in the world. An educated leader, you must be ready to think and do, lead and follow, advise and listen. Your education is a sacred trust. You have earned the privilege to choose humility, compassion, courage, integrity, and justice as lifelong touchstones. An understanding of the responsibility and privilege of educated men and women was set out by W.E.B. Du Bois with these words: "Give us grace to realize that education is not simply doing the things we like, studying the tasks that appeal to us, or wandering in the world of thought whither and where we will. In a universe where good is hidden underneath evil and pleasure lurks in pain, we must work if we would learn and know. It is the unpleasant task, the hard lesson, the bitter experience that often leads to knowledge and power and good. Graduates, may your dreams chart your journey, your visions guide your days, your imagination give you courage, and your hopes keep you safe. Stay close to Columbia. Return to Columbia often to challenge your mind, to nurture your imagination, and to refresh your soul. May it be so with God's help. Congratulations, Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the University.
Good morning. What a fabulous day, and what a wonderful place to enjoy it. In my 9 years as President of Columbia, I have never seen a happier, brighter, better prepared assembly than this fabulous class of 2002. In a short while, we will honor with the University Medal for Excellence and Columbia Degrees Honoris Causa 8 special classmates. Their predecessors span the centuries, from Abraham Lincoln to Winston Churchill, Margaret Mead, Desmond Tutu. Today, we add to that luminous roster. As you can see, it is a remarkable gathering of talent. Among the honorees is my illustrious successor, the incoming president of Columbia University, Lee Bollinger. Please join me in welcoming all of our honorary members of the class of 2002. You surely can cheer better than that. You'll have That's a good warm-up, because now I ask you to give a resounding cheer for those who helped you reach this day, your mentors and teachers, and your loving families and loyal friends. Those of you who turned and looked at the gathered assembly are expressing on behalf of all of us our recognition of how crucial it has been that loving families and loyal friends have provided the support that has made this set of accomplishments possible. We are here to recognize the attainments of a group of students who are at the heart of our university, the women and men who graduate today from Columbia College. Thank you. It's hard not to observe you're more energetic in self-congratulation than in thanking others, but we're also here to honor the graduating seniors from one of the finest undergraduate institutions in the world, Barnard College. We are here as well to salute the multi-talented graduates of Columbia's eminent Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science. And we are here to applaud those who have worked hard and diligently to earn your degrees from America's finest liberal arts college for adults, the School of General Studies. We raise a special cheer. And here I think we should all cheer, not expect this group of graduates only to cheer for itself. We all cheer for those who have completed your work at one of this country's oldest and most prestigious schools for advanced study and research, the Columbia Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. We celebrate as well the superbly prepared graduates of our stellar School of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation. We praise the gifted graduates of our acclaimed School of the Arts. We hail the dedicated graduates of the oldest accredited school in its field, the Columbia School of Social Work. Today we congratulate our skilled and newly minted dentists, nurses, public health professionals, and physicians and surgeons. We welcome to the pursuit of justice our worthy graduates of Columbia's outstanding School of Law. Today, we affirm our future, knowing that we can entrust our children to the newest graduates of the nation's best teachers college. We have confidence that others of you will make it your mission to give us accurate reporting, graduates of Columbia's great School of Journalism. We count on a planet made safer and more prosperous by the worldly men and women from America's preeminent School of International and Public Affairs. And we expect that prosperity will go hand in hand with social responsibility for you who graduate today from Columbia's splendid School of Business. To all of you, congratulations on becoming our newest alumni. This is a time for celebration. We sound the trumpets, we unfurl the banners, but even as we shout and cheer and applaud you and your achievements, we know that your final year will also forever be marked by the tragedy that has come to be known simply as 9/11. The horrific events of that day are etched into our memories as vivid scenes of deliberately inflicted death and destruction, and marked indelibly by the loss of many of our friends and loved ones in the larger Columbia family. 9/11 symbolizes some of the most pressing challenges that confront our world, the world for which you will be providing leadership. As you know, I too will be moving on to new responsibilities. So on this occasion of our shared commencement, I take the liberty of framing two challenges that we will all face together. Challenges that come into sharp focus when viewed through the lens of 9/11. The first challenge concerns what is widely characterized as globalization. Most Americans have viewed globalization both as a way of extending the reach of Western commerce and communication and as a source of inexpensive products and services. There are certainly also anxieties about a potential loss of jobs and concerns about threats to environmental standards. But 9/11 has focused our attention on how much more fundamental are the challenges that globalization entails. Globalization means that business and the media can operate quickly on a worldwide basis. It also means that the hatred and violence nurtured by envy and exclusion and ideologically laden differences anywhere in the world are very near to us. We are all at ground zero. Our destiny cannot be divorced from the fate of the rest of the world, including those furthest from us in geography, ideology, and socioeconomic status. The United States may be the world's lone superpower, but we cannot simply impose our will, even on those who seem relatively powerless. 9/11, in effect, forced our leaders to rethink the preemptive unilateralism so evident in American policy in the months before the tragedy. The abrogation of the Kyoto Protocol, the move toward missile defense apart from any discussions even with allies, the refusal for 15 long months to take an active role in seeking to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. A more positive expression of our sense of connection to the fate of the rest of the world occurred in March, when more than 50 heads of state and other leaders met in Monterrey, Mexico, to address the imperative of financing development so that the benefits of globalization can be more broadly distributed. Just before those meetings, President Bush announced that the United States would increase foreign economic assistance by 50% over 3 years. After a decade of stagnant development budgets, that is a most welcome step in the right direction, though it will still leave the U.S. at the bottom of the 25 most developed countries in the percentage of the gross domestic product devoted to foreign assistance. To be specific, even after this projected increase, the United States will devote about 0.15% of our gross domestic product to foreign assistance. Out of $100, we will give 15 cents. $100, 15 cents. As a fraction of the total economy, that will be 1/7 as much as Denmark already gives, and about 1/5 of what we officially agreed at the World Food Summit in 1996 was an appropriate target for all advanced industrialized countries. So as we applaud the commitment of the United States to move closer to doing our fair share, we must also recognize how far we have yet to go. In this regard, a report in this morning's New York Times is encouraging. Bono, for the benefit of those of us who are over 30, the lead singer in the band U2, yes, but the other person I'll mention are ones that people under 30 are less likely to know. Our Treasury Secretary, Paul O'Neill. These two are traveling in Africa to see which development programs are most effective. The delegation may be an odd couple, but its purpose is right on target. The deliberations in Monterrey also addressed trade. Here, too, performance is far less impressive than our announced intentions. Jack Beatty sums up the situation succinctly in a recent column in the Atlantic Monthly. Its title is, "Do as we say, not as we do." The most recent major international trade agreement, the Uruguay Round, concluded in 1994, set out a straightforward bargain. The developed countries would reduce their agricultural subsidies, and the developing countries would in return lower their tariffs on agricultural imports. In Beatty's words, the developing countries met their part of the bargain by halving their average tariffs. The developed countries reneged. Subsidies have in recent years made up almost 40% of the value of Western farm output, about the same as when the Uruguay Round started. The cost to developing countries of this failure of globalization is enormous. For agriculture alone, Western export subsidies and trade barriers amount to more than 5 times the total of Western foreign aid. Manufactured goods from the developing world also face tariff barriers that are on average 4 times as high as those levied on products from the industrialized world. This state of affairs is simply hard to defend. To quote the subtitle of Beatty's piece, globalization might actually be good for poor countries if only rich countries played by the rules. One challenge we face together is then to make globalization work for the impoverished as well as the wealthy. It's a pleasure that the School of International and Public Affairs led that cheer. To meet this challenge will certainly require more generous programs of foreign assistance than the post-Cold War world has yet produced. But it will also entail designing incentives and, when necessary, enforcement mechanisms to assure that all the players follow the rules of the game. If meeting this first challenge is to be more than a wistful hope, it leads directly to the second challenge we face, which also comes into sharp focus when viewed through the lens of 9/11. The relationship between private incentives and public standards, between market mechanisms and governmental policies. The tragedy of 9/11 brought a new appreciation for the legitimate roles of government as a representation of community concern, care, and support. In this city, personalized so remarkably by Mayor Rudy Giuliani. As a resource for emergency services, as a locus for security in a time of extreme anxiety, as an arbiter among competing claims, as a source of funding for compensation and reconstruction. Markets are no doubt crucial for efficient economic development. Data from the past 2 decades on an increasingly worldwide basis bear powerful witness to the dynamism of freer markets. But 9/11 reminds us that markets work best when there are rules of the game that all the players accept. Airport security is a telling illustration of what happens when public services are contracted out to private firms without adequate attention to performance standards. Profits for the vendor can be high, even if costs to the purchaser are low, as long as there is little concern for quality control. The solution to this problem is not simply to make airport personnel government employees. It is instead to design a system that preserves incentives for vendors while at the same time insisting that publicly imposed standards of quality must be met. The same position holds for such complex services as welfare and job training. Private contracts, profit motives, and other incentives may well have a constructive role to play in injecting efficiency and overcoming complacency. But important though such means may be, the end to be achieved is a public good, and in each case, even private vendors must be held accountable to publicly monitored standards of quality. In the heyday of unbridled enthusiasm for the dynamism of markets and for the unfailing wisdom of the invisible hand, it was hard for advocates of government responsibility for regulation to get a hearing. In fact, in this country at least, it still is and should be tough to impose regulations. We all hate red tape and bureaucracy. As my family and friends will confirm, I probably dislike such intrusions as much as anyone. But just in case we were beginning to forget the lesson of 9/11, we had another teachable moment this spring. The Enron Corporation, through its extensive network of connections and on the basis of wide and deep campaign contributions, lobbied vigorously and successfully to have many of its transactions exempted from the regulations that govern the energy industry. This exemption from regulation is certainly not the cause of Enron's collapse. But the absence of oversight just as certainly did contribute to a climate in which the unrestrained self-interest of senior executives overwhelmed other considerations, including the interests of other employees and fellow shareholders. So today we are challenged to rethink and reorder the ways we live together. First, globalization requires a reorientation of our stance in the international arena, a reorientation that recognizes how intimately we are interconnected with even those most distant from us. And second, along with our embrace of markets, we must affirm the legitimate role of public institutions in requiring adherence to rules of conduct and standards of quality to which all participants are held accountable. You, our most recent graduates, will participate in this rethinking and reordering for the rest of your lives. You will be not only players, but also the theoreticians, the policymakers, the executives who help determine the rules of the game. In the confidence that Columbia has contributed to your capacity for such leadership, I wish each one of you all the best for all of our sake. Thank you and congratulations.
The Provost of the University, Jonathan R. Cole, will now present the University Medal for Excellence and the candidates for the degrees in honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present the University Medal for Excellence to George D. Yankopoulos, physician and scientist.
My Latin's good, but not that good. George D. Yankopoulos, for the University Medal for Excellence. Son of Columbia, gifted scholar and scientist, creative leader in medicine and business, we honor you today for the powerful relevance of your scientific accomplishments. A brilliant triple Columbia degree holder, with a bachelor's degree from Columbia College, an MD from the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and a PhD from the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, a Howard Hughes Fellow, a Lucille B. Markey Scholar, a Columbia Adjunct Professor, and Chief Scientific Officer of a leading biotechnology company. You have provided new therapeutic methods for controlling neurological disorders, metabolic diseases, and cancer. Enlisting molecular biology in the conquest of disease, you have become the exemplar of the modern physician-scientist. Columbia takes great pride in awarding to one of our own the University Medal for Excellence.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Joan Didion, novelist and essayist, for the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Joan Didion for the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. A magical alchemy of precision, elegance, and diamond-hard language mark you as a true original. With a spareness of style that leaves the reader room to think and feel, you have brought to English prose 4 decades of innovative fiction and commentary. Your collections of nonfiction, Slouching Toward Bethlehem and The White Album, have placed the personal essay at the center stage in modern literature. Melding the personal and the political with remarkable dexterity, you have given us a body of work, novels, essays, and screenplays of power, insight, and profound influence on writers of successive generations. Columbia is pleased to award you the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Roberto Gonzalez Echeverria for the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Roberto Gonzalez Echeverria for the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. Speaking little English when you arrived from Cuba at age 16, you became a master of the language of Shakespeare as well as those of Cervantes, Balzac, and Dante. Today, your influential studies in The Voice of the Masters, Myth and Archive, and Celestina's Brood are widely read and honored on 3 continents. In your work, you have related literature to the law, science, history, philosophy, anthropology, and baseball. At the center of critical debates in Hispanism, you have earned a permanent place in literary history. As Sterling Professor of Hispanic and Comparative Literature at Yale University, at the pinnacle of your field, you continue to help shape the discipline of literary criticism and to inspire future generations of scholars. Columbia is privileged to bestow upon you the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Lee C. Bollinger, President of Columbia University, for the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Lee C. Bollinger for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Lifelong advocate of a more tolerant society, you return to Columbia as president to lead us as we set the course for this new century. You have redefined academic leadership, first as Dean of the University of Michigan Law School and then as president of that university, authoring groundbreaking books that lead us to respect the diverse views that enrich our national discourse, participating in public debate on urgent issues, and sharing your perspectives as a teacher of undergraduates. Having reasserted the university's role as guardian and promulgator of culture, you return to this great city where art and culture touch us all. As an avid runner and a master medalist in the New York City Millrose Games, you understand endurance as well as leadership. Columbia is proud to welcome you home for what we hope will be a long and successful run as our 19th president with a degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present George J. Mitchell, statesman and public servant, for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
George J. Mitchell for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Visionary public servant and global ambassador for peace, you are an inspiring model for selfless devotion to the hard work of democracy. As Senate Majority Leader, you steered key initiatives to victory, including basic environmental legislation and path-breaking child care law. Since leaving the Senate, you have confronted the most intransigent international problems as a peace negotiator in Northern Ireland, pointing the way to the Good Friday Agreement of 1998, and as chair of the Sharm el-Sheikh Fact-Finding Committee on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, bringing a ray of hope to the gray skies of the Middle East. For your courageous dedication to a better world, Columbia is honored to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Ruth J. Simmons, President of Brown University, for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Ruth J. Simmons for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. As the 12th child of East Texas sharecroppers, now the 18th president of one of America's oldest and finest universities, you are the inspirational embodiment of the American dream. Your years of leadership at Spelman College, Princeton University, and Smith College have been dedicated to the conviction that education embodies the power to transform lives and extend life chances. As an innovative leader in opening elite institutions to the disadvantaged, you bring to your new mission as president of Brown University welcome insight, boundless energy, and passionate commitment. For your extraordinary leadership in higher education and for speaking out and fighting for what is right, Columbia salutes you with a degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Jack Beeson, composer and teacher, for the degree Doctor of Music, honoris causa.
Jack Beeson for the degree of Doctor of Music, honoris causa.
Not so quick.
With your galaxy of successful operas in which Lizzie Borden is the central radiant star, you have given thousands of listeners the world over the pleasures of music allied with passion and drama, humor and satire. Your songs, sonatas, and symphonies have confirmed the best judges' high regard for your inspired versatility. You have followed the tradition of the teacher-composer established by Edward McDowell when he founded the Columbia Music Department more than a century ago. For more than 3 decades, your accomplishments have drawn into your orbit our most talented students, eager to learn under your painstaking care the open secrets of your heart, of your art and heart. Columbia is proud to cap the many honors you have received by conferring upon you the degree Doctor of Music, honoris causa.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Brenda Milner, scientific pioneer, for the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Brenda Milner for the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. Your pioneering research fueled the knowledge explosion about the critical relationship between human memory and the brain. Nearly a half-century ago, you detailed the amnesia that resulted when the hippocampus of the brain was surgically lesioned in an effort to alleviate seizures. In documenting the disturbing results of this surgery, you made a profound contribution to medicine, to our understanding of mental processes, and to consequent decades of intense study of memory and cognitive functions related to specific regions of the brain. For your insight into how the brain works, Columbia proudly bestows upon you the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
The President of the University will now present the awards for excellence in teaching.
I have the privilege of presenting 5 further honors through which we recognize faculty colleagues for their outstanding contributions as teachers. Nominations were solicited and received from students, fellow faculty, and alumni. A faculty committee made the final selection. I ask that each awardee stand as I call your name so that we may acknowledge this great contribution to our common life as an educational institution. Unfortunately, our first awardee could not be with us, but our admiration for her is such that we must honor her even in absentia. Kathy Eden. Known for your daunting erudition and your capacity to wield it with lucidity, precision, and grace, you have a deep love for the study of literature, matched by a strong commitment to teaching it to others, and a deep wisdom about how that can best be done. Sigvard G. Gisler. Your commitment to the... Do you want to hear what we have to say about him? Your commitment to the mission and craft of rigorous journalism is surpassed only by your capacity to inspire your students to dig deeper, to write better, and to behave more ethically in the process. Congratulations. Thomas J. Katz. Your introduction of generations of undergraduates to the excitement of chemistry and your extraordinary mentoring of doctoral candidates have launched more distinguished careers and changed more lives than we can count. Congratulations. Archie Rand. You have a boundless ability to inspire in your students a love of all visual language, and also the capacity to signal that it is appropriate to pursue knowledge as the valued companion of artistic practice. Gerald E. Thompson. Your distinguished service as a teaching physician and a mentor has made you an unparalleled model for an entire generation of physicians in the making. And by your own example as a bedside teacher, you have shown them how to think and care. I congratulate all 5 of you. We are honored that you are with us, and we applaud your good work.
The Provost of the University will now present the administrative officers of the various divisions of the University, who will in turn introduce candidates for the degrees in course in their respective groups. Those candidates will be expected to rise as they are being introduced until the conferring of the degrees is completed.
Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce Austin E. Quigley, Dean of Columbia College.
Mr. President, before you stands the Columbia College class of 2002. The extraordinarily talented candidates of the faculty of Columbia's original college of 1754, who, after years of unflagging effort and unceasing valor, have completed the daunting and almost impossible requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. I request you, sir, to grant these amazing young people this degree, along with the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereby entailed. Thank you, sir.
Next, Mr. President, I have the pleasure of introducing Zvi Galil, Dean of the Faculty of the Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science.
Mr. President, before you stand the candidates of the faculty of the Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science. They possess electrical personality, environmental awareness, biomedical excellence, and great chemistry. And they have been blessed with computer confidence, mechanical aptitude, industrial strength, applied ingenuity, and civil responsibility. These candidates have completed the requirements prescribed by the faculty for the degrees of Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, Professional and Engineering degree, and Doctor of Engineering Science. I ask you, please, sir, to grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
I am pleased, Mr. President, to introduce Judith R. Shapiro, President of Barnard College.
President Rupp, you've worked so hard for this degree, you want to hear yourselves get it. President Rupp, you are no doubt aware that before you stand the audibly splendid and splendidly audible members of the Barnard class of 2002. They have completed the requirements prescribed by the Barnard faculty for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, and I know that they will remember your years at this university as fondly as they remember their own if you grant them this degree, together with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto pertaining.
It's my pleasure, Mr. President, to introduce Peter J. On, Dean of the Faculty of General Studies.
Mr. President, before you stand the imaginative, innovative, and deeply indebted candidates of the faculty of a unique college in the Ivy League, Columbia School of General Studies. They have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. I entreat you, sir, to grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Next, Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce Bruce W. Ferguson, Dean of the Faculty of the Arts.
Mr. President, to your far, far left, appropriately enough, stand the candidates of the Faculty of the School of the Arts, professional artists of all media and of enormous distinction, who will delight, enliven, amuse, confound, and finally elevate us in the near future, and who have, thankfully, completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Master of Fine Arts. I beg and beseech you, sir, indeed I plead with you, to grant these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
I am pleased, Mr. President, to introduce Lisa Anderson, Dean of the Faculty of International and Public Affairs.
Thank you. Mr. President, welcome to the SEPA Alumni Association. Before you stand the candidates of the Faculty of International and Public Affairs. These remarkable individuals knew well before September 11th how important globalization and public service would be to all of us. They are dedicating their lives to making their community and their world more just, more secure, more prosperous, and more peaceful. They have completed the requirements prescribed by the faculty for the degrees of Master of Public Administration and Master of International Affairs. Please, sir, grant them these degrees along with the rights and responsibilities thereto attached.
Mr. President, it's now my pleasure to introduce Sheila B. Kammerman, Interim Dean of the Faculty of Social Work. Well done, Sheila. Congratulations.
Mr. President, before you stand, also to your left, the compassionate and idealistic candidates of the Faculty of Social Work who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Science and Doctor of Social Welfare. I beg you, sir, to grant to them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Well done. Now, Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce Ira B. Lamster, Dean of the Faculty of Dental and Oral Surgery.
Mr. President, before you stand the candidates of the Faculty of Dental and Oral Surgery, class of 2002, who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Science and Doctor of Dental Surgery. This is my first class. They are an outstanding group of individuals who will be a continued source of pride for their alma mater. I beg you, sir, to grant them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
And next, Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Fehlberg, Dean of the Faculty of Business.
Mr. President, before you stand the quintessential candidates of the faculty of the Graduate School of Business who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Master of Business Administration. I request you, sir, to grant them this degree along with the rights and privileges thereto attached. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Mr. President, to introduce Thomas J. Goldstein, Dean of the Faculty of Journalism.
Mr. President, standing before you are the rambunctious but wise, the hard-charging but courteous, the sweet-tempered but tough-minded, the concise yet eloquent, the fearless and very independent, seekers of truth and justice, candidates of the Faculty of Journalism. They have completed the requirements prescribed by our faculty for the degree of Master of Science. I ask you respectfully, sir, to grant them this degree, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Now, Mr. President, I'm pleased to introduce Arthur Levine, President of Teachers College.
Mr. President, behind you, to the side of you, at the forefront of this assembly, stand the candidates of the Faculty of Teachers College. Whose quiet dignity and innate modesty would be offended were I to use a string of overblown adjectives to describe their superlative qualities. Suffice it to say, these extraordinarily able and idealistic graduates are the best of their generation and committed to achieving social justice in our time. That does suffice. They have completed the requirements of our faculty for degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Education, Master of Science, and Doctor of Education. I beseech you to grant them these degrees with the associated responsibilities and rights because they have important work to do.
I am pleased, Mr. President, to introduce Bernard Tschumi, Dean of the Faculty of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation.
Mr. President, before you stand the experimental and yet highly constructive, the inquisitive and soon to be highly influential candidates of the Faculty of Architecture, Planning and Preservation, who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Architecture, Master of Science. I beg you, sir, to grant this extraordinary class these degrees along with the rights and responsibilities thereto attached.
Next, Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce David W. Lebron, Dean of the Faculty of Law.
Mr. President, before you stand the brilliant, diverse, socially committed, and enthusiastic candidates of the Faculty of Law who have completed the requirements prescribed by our faculty for the degrees of Juris Doctor, Master of Laws, and Doctor of the Science of Law. I ask you, sir, to grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges attached thereto, so that they may go forth and contribute in myriad ways to justice and to our best aspirations for our world, and indeed protect all the rights and privileges you are conferring on Columbia students today.
Mr. President, it is now my pleasure to introduce Gerald D. Fischbach, Executive Vice President for Health and Biomedical Sciences and Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, College of Physicians and Surgeons, who will administer the Hippocratic Oath.
Mr. President, I'm proud to present to you candidates for the degrees from the Faculty of Medicine. They are a brilliant, creative, caring, and energetic group who yesterday made the innovative suggestion that we suspend admissions to the medical school because it is unlikely that we will ever recruit a better group. They have completed the requirements prescribed by the Faculty of Medicine for the degrees of Masters of Science in Clinical Microbiology, Master of Science in Human Nutrition, Master of Science in Occupational Therapy, Master of Science in Physical Therapy, and Doctor of Medicine. Their experience has been enriched by being part of this great university, and Mr. President, by your leadership during their tenure. And we respectfully request that you grant these individuals the degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached. Mr. President, may we also request your permission to administer the oath of Hippocrates to the candidates for the Doctor of Medicine. This custom was established more than 2,000 years ago, that no one may be admitted to our profession without first expressly undertaking its obligations. Most relevant today. Now, therefore, we call upon you to take, as we have taken before you, the oath that bears the name of Hippocrates. The language in which our predecessors first took the oath is no longer spoken. The very gods they called to witness are no longer relevant. But still, we can find no more noble words than the most ancient in which to hand down the traditions of our calling. You do solemnly swear by whatever each of you holds most sacred, that you will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that you will lead lives and practice your art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever house you shall enter, It shall be for the good of the sick, to the utmost of your power, holding yourselves far aloof from wrong, from corruption, from the tempting of others to vice, that you will exercise your art solely for the cure of your patients, and will give no drug, perform no operation for a criminal purpose, even if solicited. Far less suggest it, that whatsoever you shall see or hear of the lives of your patients, which is not fitting to be spoken, you will keep inviolably secret. These things do you swear. Let each of you bow your head in a sign of acquiescence. And now, if you will be true to this, your oath, may good repute ever be yours. If the opposite, if you shall prove yourselves forewarned.
And now, Mr. President, I'm pleased to introduce Mary O. Mundinger, Dean of the School of Nursing.
Mr. President, before you stand the accomplished candidates of the distinguished Faculty of Nursing who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, and Doctor of Nursing Science. They are among the nation's most precious resources. I ask you, sir, to grant them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Next, Mr. President, I'm pleased to introduce Alan G. Rosenfield, Dean of the Mailman School of Public Health.
Mr. President, thank you for getting my diplomas. Before you stand the prevention-oriented, socially committed, diverse, and brilliant class of 2002, the candidates of the Faculty of the Mailman School of Public Health, who are dedicated to help this nation fix our difficult and flawed system of health care. They have completed the requirements prescribed by the faculty for the Master of Public Health, Master of Science, and Doctor of Public Health. I request you, sir, that you grant to them these degrees along with the rights and privileges hereto attached.
And last, Mr. President, it is my pleasure to introduce Henry C. Pinkham, Dean of the Faculty of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. Congratulations, Henry. Well done.
Mr. President, before you stand the candidates of the Faculty of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy, and Doctor of Musical Arts. I beg you, sir, to grant to them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Will all candidates for degrees in course please rise for the conferring of degrees by the President?
The appropriate academic authorities have determined, and have so reported to me, those students who have satisfactorily completed the course of study prescribed by the faculty under which they have been enrolled as a candidate for a university degree. In accordance with the authority vested in me as president of the university, I now admit each of you to the degree for which you have qualified, in token whereof you will subsequently receive your diploma. Congratulations.
The audience is requested to please rise and join in the singing of Stand Columbia, and to remain standing until after the benediction is pronounced by Rabbi Menachem Meyer.
Mr. President, honored guests, distinguished graduates, including many of my former students, and my dear Elisheva. You, the graduates should know a fundamental eternal truth. Your parents love you deeply. I am in a year of mourning for my beloved mother, who died about 6 months ago. The United States is also in a year of mourning after the most heinous attack on American soil, killing over 3,000 innocent people. My thoughts today reflect the values of my mother of blessed memory and her attitude towards the United States. A refugee from Nazi Germany, she arrived on these shores in the 1930s without a formal education, but with great wisdom. The majesty of America mesmerized her throughout her long life. She saw America as a land of unparalleled opportunity, with education the key to growth. She would frequently say, "Get the best education you can, nobody can ever take that away from you." You, the graduates of Columbia University, are certainly the beneficiaries of the finest education. There is yet another fundamental lesson to be learned outside of the lecture hall. The prophet Zechariah enjoined those responsible for governing a nation to establish authentic justice and deal compassionately with people. These twin values of justice and compassion represent the legacy of the prophetic tradition. Both values are rooted in the conviction that every human being is created in the image of God. Together, these values form the eternal twin towers of the American structure. Our Declaration of Independence sets out among our inalienable rights life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It provides a broad foundation for a just society. Some 100 years later, the poet Emma Lazarus gave equally profound expression to America's sense of compassion with her immortal words, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." Our American society, based on the twin values of justice and compassion, is precisely what the attacks of September 11th sought to destroy. But those events succeeded only in strengthening us. Never in our history has there been such an overwhelming expression of justice and compassion. May these eternal twin towers of the American structure energize us and serve as our compass as we walk the road of life with its complexities and challenges. May the Almighty bless each and every one of you, and may God bless America.
Until the academic procession is passed, guests of the university and the graduates are requested to please remain in their places. That concludes it.
Thank you.